All right, this is part one of our tutorial on how to create a room using one-point linear perspective. We're not really using an art program per se. We are just simply starting off our rooms using Google Slides. Let me show you samples of projects that were done in the past that I consider very well done. What we're doing today is we're going to create a line drawing of our room that establishes depth and space. So we have a foreground, middle ground, and background. We also are going to figure out how to make objects have form. So if you look at this bed, we have the side facing the viewer, where you're the viewer out in the foreground, and the top of the bed. Same thing with the stairs. You'll notice that even the colors are changing, so I will be doing that once we get to a painting part of this unit. And even the thickness of windows and such. So you'll be learning quite a bit, and it's very easy to do with the computer because you can make mistakes, but then quickly delete them if they're not working for you. Here's another room. I love the fact that the back wall is so small. That creates more depth in your room, so you have more room to put other things. You can even have room to put hallways off your main area. So you see this little room, and there's thickness of the walls, and that's what I'm looking for. So people want A's, you're going to have to really try to create the thickness of objects that normally would have thickness in reality. Cute little room. You're going to draw some of the things from scratch, then you can put other things from the internet, clip art and so forth. And we'll talk about that later. And then here's another sample. Okay. In your Google Slides, you will have received a slide that has the starting point of your room. This gray rectangle or the gray lines represent the outer edge of your room. And what we're going to do using the Google Slides is to create the vanishing lines that will make up the walls and the ceiling. Just so you know, everything I'm saying verbally right now or out loud, they're already typed up as well. So if you like to actually read directions rather than hear them, they are going to be provided for you. All right. To start off, we're going to go to the insert panel or our panel of all the options that you can use where there's an insert. Go to insert and line. Okay. You're going to end up with a cursor. Please put the cursor beyond the corner of the rectangle that's on the slide. That's very important. I'll explain it more later. Click and drag a line from the upper left corner to the lower right corner. And again, just draw it slightly outside of that rectangle. That line is going to be a vanishing line, but it's too thin. So what we need to do now is go back to our menu bar, and we're going to find the one that has 3 lines. That's the width of your line, so to make it super thick or super thin, we want it to be around 3 pixels, and then click off. Do the same thing, draw another line from the opposite side of your rectangle. So let's place the cursor beyond the rectangle, draw one corner to the other corner. Again, it's too skinny of a line, so we want to go back and adjust the weight. We're going to pick 3 pixels. Okay. Click off, and now we have our vanishing line. Lines. So this is where we'll start creating the ceiling, the wall, the floor, and then again, we're going to do a back wall in a second. Before we get to creating the back wall, we have to establish where the vanishing point is. So it's going to go right where these 2 lines intersected. Go to Insert. This time go to Shape, Circle. Okay, you're going to draw a very tiny circle, so put the cursor pretty close to the center and just draw a little circle. Okay. While it's still selected, I want you to change the color. So there's a little paint can near the pencil color tool. You're going to pick paint can and just change the color to whatever you want, and then click off. That's just going to help you see it a lot better. What I want you to do now is to click back on that circle if it's not clicked already. And I want you to Control X to cut that vanishing point out of there. Okay. Don't do anything else. So just leave it in the cut mode. We'll use it in a second. Now we're going to create the back wall using a rectangle. So we go back to Insert, click Shape, rectangle. And now we're going to draw the back wall. So put your cursor on one of your vanishing lines and you're going to click and drag. The corners of your rectangle should line up directly to one of all your vanishing lines, actually. Okay, and that's pretty good. If you want your back wall to, or if you want your room to have more depth, you will have to draw a smaller rectangle. So let's do that. Go to Shape, Rectangle. And now I'm going to draw a smaller rectangle. It gives my room way more space to add hallways and stairs and so forth. It's up to you. Okay. Now let's say that you're a little bit off, which will happen. You just have to keep adjusting. So either drag it inward or outward or up or down, and you will figure it out. Again, this is too skinny of a line, so you make sure your rectangle is selected. Go back just the weight, 3. And then I also want you to dump white in there. Okay. Now, if you say Control V, your dot will go exactly where you want it to be. Cool? So everything we draw in this room is going to go to that dot. The last thing that you need to do for the beginning steps is to make sure all these lines connect. So you're going to make sure your cursor is way beyond your drawing, and you're going to click and drag everything that was in that big gray rectangle. Okay. Go to Arrange, Group, and they all should be together. We'll test it really quick. So if they all drag, you did it right. Okay. If you didn't, just click off of it and try it again. That's it for this part of the tutorial. The next part will be establishing the doors and the windows.